All right, let's get into it. Today, we're diving deep, I mean really deep, into a mystery that's unfolding in the darkest corners of our planet. Something is happening down in the abyss, and believe it or not, the clues are washing right up onto our beaches.
So that's the big question, right? Why are these creatures, animals that have spent millennia living in crushing darkness, suddenly showing up at the surface? What could possibly be forcing them out of the only home they've ever known?
Things really started getting weird in January 2023. A fisherman in Japan comes across this, a 6-meter-long oarfish just thrashing around near his boat. Now you gotta understand, these things live a kilometer straight down in the dark. In Japanese folklore, seeing an oarfish is a really bad sign, an omen for disasters like earthquakes.
And look at this timeline. You can see how things are escalating. Back in 2011, before that massive earthquake in Japan, 20 oarfish were found. But then it just accelerates. In 2023, a single fisherman catches 50 of them in one trip. By 2025, tourists are filming a live one in Mexico. What used to be a once-in-a-lifetime sighting is now becoming, well, almost common.
And it's not just the oarfish. We're seeing it with other deep-sea animals too. The giant phantom jellyfish, which belongs 1 to 2 kilometers down, was spotted just 80 meters from the surface. Fishermen are pulling up the smooth lumpfish, which, no joke, looks like a floating brain, and even the famous black sea devil anglerfish turned up at the surface. There's definitely a pattern here.
So to really get why they're leaving, we have to understand where they're from. So let's go on a little journey, a journey to the last truly unexplored wilderness on Earth, the deep ocean.
Okay, so the world we know, that's the sunlight zone. Plenty of light, lots of life, sharks, turtles, you name it. But once you go past 200 meters, you hit the twilight zone. And down here, the water acts like a giant filter. It strips out colors one by one, and the first to go is red. All that's left is this faint, eerie blue glow.
And the life down here has adapted in the most incredible ways. Meet the strawberry squid. To us, up here, it looks bright red, but in its home, where there's no red light to reflect, its body just soaks up all the blue light. It becomes a perfect black silhouette. Basically, it's invisible.
So, with the sun gone, what do you do for light? You make your own. It's called bioluminescence. It's this amazing chemical reaction that creates cold light, and these creatures use this living light for everything, to hunt, to hide, and to talk to each other in the pitch black.
And then you see something like this, the barrel-eye fish. I mean, it looks like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Its head is a completely clear dome, and those green things inside, those are its eyes. They're pointed straight up, always scanning the water above for the faint shadow of its next meal.
Okay, we're pushing past 1,000 meters now. We're entering a whole new world. Welcome to the midnight zone. There is absolutely no sunlight here. There's just cold, crushing pressure and the light that animals make for themselves.
This is where the anglerfish rules. Everyone knows that glowing lure it uses to attract prey, but its love life is even weirder. The males are these tiny little parasites. They find a female, bite her, and then their bodies literally fuse together. They end up sharing her bloodstream for the rest of their lives. Wild.
And check out the vampire squid. It's the last living member of its ancient family. It looks terrifying, right? It's got this webbing between its arms that looks like a vampire's cape. But here's the crazy part. It's not some fierce hunter. It eats something called marine snow, which is really just a nice way of saying, well, marine poop.
Let's keep going, plunging past 4,000 meters. Down into the abyssal zone. We are miles below the surface. The pressure here is absolutely immense. We're at the very bottom of the world.
And even down here, life finds a way. This is the Dumbo octopus, and you can see why it gets its name. It uses those big ear-like fins to just fly through the water, like some kind of deep-sea ballerina. It lives its whole life in this extreme place, never coming up.
So, we visited this totally alien world, which brings us right back to our original question. Why on earth are they leaving it? Well, the first clue, strangely enough, came out of World War II. Back then, Navy sonar operators kept getting these weird readings. They'd see what looked like a false seafloor that would rise hundreds of meters every single night and then sink back down every morning. It wasn't the seafloor at all. It was a massive, dense wall of living creatures, all part of what we now call diel vertical migration, or DVM.
And the sheer scale of this is it's mind-boggling. This is the largest migration on the entire planet by mass. Every night, billions of animals, weighing a combined 25 times more than all 8 billion people on Earth, they travel from the deep sea to the surface and then back down again.
And the reason they do it is just brilliant. During the day, they hide out in the deep, dark water where predators like sharks can't see them. Then at night, using the darkness as cover, they swim up to the surface to feast on all the phytoplankton. It's the perfect strategy. Eat without being eaten.
But here's the thing. What we're seeing now with the oarfish and the others, that's not this natural daily commute. It's a one-way trip. This is an unnatural exodus. It's a forced, permanent migration. And the first reason why is something we're all familiar with.
Okay, so climate change is heating up the ocean surface. This warm water is lighter, less dense, so it basically just sits on top of the cold, deep water like a lid. And that's a huge problem, because oxygen gets into the ocean from the atmosphere at the surface. If the layers don't mix, the oxygen gets trapped up top. So the deep ocean is literally, slowly suffocating, and these creatures are being forced to race upwards just to find water they can breathe.
But while climate change is this slow-moving crisis, the sources we're analyzing point to a second, much more immediate threat. One that could destroy this fragile world before we ever really get to understand it, and that is deep-sea mining.
Now, the source video for this explainer makes a very strong, politically charged case here. It alleges that this whole push for deep-sea mining is being driven by what it terms crony capitalists. It points to creatures like the scaly foot snail, which has an iron shell and lives near mineral-rich vents, as targets. The source claims governments are lining up to permit this mining, and it asserts that certain politicians are promoting policies that benefit corporations at the direct expense of these incredible ecosystems.
There is, however, a big pushback happening. There's a UN group called the International Seabed Authority, and they're the ones who can greenlight this kind of mining. According to the source, 32 nations have already come out against it, and a petition to just stop deep-sea mining before it even gets started has already gotten over 3 million signatures. So the public desire to protect this last frontier is definitely there.
The source wraps up with this powerful quote from Mahatma Gandhi. "The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed." And it leaves us with a pretty heavy question. As these creatures from the deepest, darkest parts of our world stare back at us from our own shorelines, are they just a warning about a changing climate? Or are they also a reflection of the depths of our own consumption?